Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to Grapperinos, the wrestling pizzeria where we serve you a slice of probably next week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and joining me in this endeavor, PLE non-ticket buyer Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Yes, I read a report the other day that WWE was considering. I guess they tried to host Survivor Series overseas, but that fell through. So they were going to change the location to Boston, and I was like, oh shit, I can actually go watch a show like a PLE, not just a Raw episode where the main event is like Rusev versus Chad Gable. And then I read another report that was like, oh, those talks stalled over money, and I'm like, dude, this city, man, fucking anti-fun police, bro. First, they didn't want to like agree on having John Cena's final match. Now they don't want to in one of the big four pay-per-views, like. Man,
Yeah.
it's never gonna happen, bro. It's over.
And not only that, but apparently SummerSlam and Saturday Night's main event at MSG is struggling. They are not selling enough tickets. I think SummerSlam, they are like a couple thousand below last year's SummerSlam when it comes to tickets. And then for Saturday Night's main event, they're not even filling out MSG. So, oh well. What an issue for TKO. I'm pretty sure that it is just due to the ticket prices. Once again, TKO not learning any lessons and just ratcheting up the ticket prices, and now no one will go. I'm sure that, you could also put it to booking, but yeah, man, ticket prices not going well. People just don't want to go to MSG, and same thing with SummerSlam, so what a great time for WWE, am I right? It's a new era!
Yeah, I think it's also due to the World Cup, possibly, because there might be some people who went to a game and spent all that money on going to a World Cup game and now don't want to spend more money to go to a pay-per-view. So that could also be it.
Yeah, and yeah, sorry to say this, but who wants to go to Minnesota for SummerSlam? That's not really a city you associate with summer anyway. Probably like Los Angeles, right? Would be better. Maybe South Carolina. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I don't really associate Minnesota with summer, so, whatever. Are there any good beaches in Minnesota? I'm pretty sure there aren't any. I could be wrong.
I know they have a ton of lakes up in Minnesota. That's like their whole thing. Is they have like 1,000 lakes or something.
Yeah.
So you're gonna probably go to a lake, but that's about it. They did have SummerSlam in Madison Square. No, not sorry, in MetLife last year, I believe. I mean, oddly enough, I think the card is actually looking not too bad. I mean, you have Cody versus CM Punk, Roman versus Seth Rollins, and then Brock versus Oba, which is not bad. It's not terrible. So,
But those are the only matches that are announced, Mike. We gotta fill up this card if we want a 2-day SummerSlam. I mean, we're probably anticipating, what, 10 matches? Maybe more so? We gotta fill up this 2-day SummerSlam. And I think on the Saturday Night's main event side, only Danhausen versus JD McDonough and then the Women's Tag Team Championship match, those two are announced. And nothing else.
they did announce on SmackDown this week that they're going to do CM Punk and Cody Rhodes versus Gunther and Sami Zayn.
Okay, sure.
Which I actually thought about, and then I said to myself, no, that's stupid. Why would Sami team with Gunther? They're both like trying to get the championship. And then they just went ahead and did it anyway. So
Never underestimate the stupidity of this company, is the lesson we learned today.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah. Anyway, let's go on ahead to the show where we try to book and predict the next episode of Monday Night Raw as we head into Saturday night's main event, which is this Saturday, I think, and SummerSlam as well. And we do it according to these rules. And after we tell you what we think will happen on that episode of Monday Night Raw, we will watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw as it drops, and we will score our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system. And after that, we will tell you what we got on the next episode of this show. So, scores. I have 7, which is ungodly, but I really did get a lot here. Just based off of appearances, I got Raquel, Liv, Io Sky, Division, which counts as 1, Seth, and Roman. And then I have the Judgment Day backstage segment. I decided to make that count because it did happen. So there you go. What about you, Mike?
I had 3 points. I had 2 from Ethan Page versus Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio winning that one, which he did. I had Chad winning his fight against JD McDonough, which was already announced. And I had 1 from a Judgment Day backstage segment.
All right, great. Let's move on to what is announced for this episode. We got a lot announced. Number 1 contender match for the Intercontinental Championship in a gauntlet match. We will sort of determine who the number 1 contender is from this gauntlet match. We also have Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, along with Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. And I guess it was sort of hinted at that Bayley and Lyra Valkyria would have a little bit of a face-off on that episode. So, not really announced, but, you know, it was just mentioned, I guess. So, I guess it counts. I have no idea. I don't know how these things work anymore, considering this company. So, without further ado, let's book this thing. Get to my version of the show first, as Roman Reigns heads to the ring. He comes out with the Bloodline 2000 2.0 minus 1. 1 person, I should say. He talks about the current situation regarding Seth Rollins and Jacob Fatu. He even puts a comment on CM Punk, something about, you know, getting the undisputed WWE Championship, being put on SmackDown like the coward that he is. Seth is like Punk, and that they are both desperate to be in the spotlight and that they will do whatever it takes to get there. Unfortunately for Seth, Roman is holding the World Heavyweight Championship, and he will do whatever it takes to finally beat the demon that's been haunting him for a long time, and to prove to the world that he is the best member of the Shield and the best main eventer in the WWE. He is then interrupted by Seth Rollins, who says he's got Roman rattled, and now he's got people like LA Knight and a couple other folks with him to join this crusade against the Bloodline, and that he will take down Roman using this help and get that championship, and he will finally restore faith to this company. And however, Seth is attacked from behind by Jacob Fatu as Roman and the other Bloodline 2000 2.0 folk laugh. Roman says, you know, you gotta watch your back, Mr. Architect, and says that he thinks it's time for Seth to get a taste of what the Bloodline has to offer, and he announces a match between Jacob and Seth for the main event. Again, pretty light kind of opening here, I guess, sort of to build up the whole Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match at SummerSlam. So there you go. I have more thoughts on that as we head to the main event, but for now, let's head to a backstage segment. We got Danhausen in the lab. He's working on his experiment. He is confronted by the Judgment Day. Judgment Day is like, yo, we still want the money, and we need you to uncurse Liv. Danhausen says no, and he plays a prank on them. They leave. This is just to build up the whole JD McDonough Danhausen match at Saturday night's main event. I am predicting that Danhausen's experiment will be revealed at that event, and considering Baron Corbin is no longer the experiment, it's probably gonna be Big Cass. I'm hopping on the Big Cass bandwagon I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be Big Cass, which is just fine, I guess, but like, holy crap. You have The Miz and Kate Wilson and other folks, and now you want Big Cass? Okay, sure, whatever. But there you go. I think he will use that experiment to win him that match and get the pop from MSG and New York for the next stuff and winning that match. So there you go. Io Sky takes on Roxanne Perez up next. This is the hype up Liv Morgan versus Io Sky at SummerSlam. We have Io Sky winning by pinfall after a failed distraction from Liv and Raquel. After the match, Liv and Raquel beat up Io and Liv, races her championship to Io and the crowd. Raquel helps Roxanne get up, but Roxanne, she gets a little mad, and she leaves on her own to the back, and Liv and Raquel are shocked. They go after her. I think this is the curse. The curse is being put on the group, and I think Roxanne Perez will play a role in the finish of the match at SummerSlam after Raquel decides to try to intervene and help Liv win. And this is to once again plant seeds for Roxanne Perez leaving the group, which I think will happen, as I said, at SummerSlam. And she'll go on her own and try to get that Women's Intercontinental Championship from Sol Ruca. So, there you go. Brock Lesnar comes out up next, and Paul Heyman also comes out. They talk about the Hell in a Cell match with Oba Femi. Brock says he heard what Oba had to say, he finally watched the show, and that he keeps calling Brock a coward, he meaning Oba. Yet Brock didn't take the pinfall when he and Oba went face-to-face in Italy. Oba does not know what is coming for him. At Hell in a Cell, Brock will rule over Oba and prove to the world that Brock still got it in the WWE. Brock is, however, attacked from behind by Oba Femi, who puts him in a fall from grace powerbomb, but it reverses to an F5, but it gets reversed to a power slam, and Oba and Brock do a little brawl, but Oba stands on top as the segment concludes. I am sticking to Oba winning. I'm pretty sure he is going to win at SummerSlam, and Brock Lesnar will be retired in his hometown, and that Hell in a Cell match is going to be good. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be great. Hopefully. I don't know how this company can mess it up, but they will find a way to mess it up. Either way, Oba wins. So there you go. It's time for the gauntlet match for the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. I looked at who is in this gauntlet match. I think Javon is there, Joe Hendry is there, Rusev is there, Ethan Page is there. I think I'm missing one other person. But out of those five, man, I think that Penta needs a heel challenge. Ethan Page already had his chance. I don't think Ethan Page is going to continue. So, out of the field of five, I am selecting Rusev as the winner of the match. However, I do think Penta will retain at SummerSlam because this company loves Penta, and Penta is a huge merch seller, so there you go. Division have a promo. Logan Paul and Austin Theory talk about what happened on the Tag Team Championship match last week, and they won with a little help from Maxxine Dupree. Maxxine gets on the mic. She explains why she did this, attributing it to Austin Theory and how no one understands him but her. Austin continues, they will hold the Tag Team Championships forever because they are the best. And they are interrupted by Alpha Academy, who come out. Otis is heartbroken that Maxxine would do such a thing to them. And as a result, they are going to challenge the Vision for the Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam. The Vision agree. They're like, okay, you want to challenge us? Alright, go ahead. Let's do it. Let's do this match. We'll prove once and for all that we are the best tag team. However, Maxxine is just shaking her head. She does not know what is going to happen to the Vision. And the Vision urge Alpha Academy to shake their hand, and they do, because dumb babyface syndrome runs in this company. But the Vision attack both of them. They leave. Maxxine Dupree looks at them, wants to help, but Austin commands her to leave with them. So I think the Vision is going to retain, and Maxxine is going to be a sort of reluctant heel. However, she's going to undergo some sort of transformation into a heel as it continues, and that, leads into an opening in Alpha Academy for Chad Gable to sort of come on in and lead the group to greatness. But SummerSlam is not the time to have Otis and Akira Tozawa to get those titles, at least until Chad Gable is there, until, Alpha Academy is once again a faction, and we use that to sort of win. And yeah, I will have division retain at SummerSlam. Next, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria have a little face-off. I think this will be a promo instead of a match. So Bayley and Lyra come out first. She talks about what's been happening in the past few weeks, why she did what she did, and Bayley wants to do this, so come on out. Bayley also comes out, and she tries to reconcile with Lyra Valkyria. She's trying to ask her, what's going on in her mind to do something like this to her. And this eventually leads to a little argument between Bayley and Lyra regarding their friendship and what happened and all that. Lyra feels like Bayley's just using her, and Bayley just misunderstands stuff, I guess. And I think this is going to lead to a match at SummerSlam between the two, because, we gotta fill up this card and sell tickets. And Bayley is a big name. SummerSlam is a 2-day event, so this is a match for SummerSlam. I mean, Bayley and Lyra have a bit of a history at this point. You might as well sell the story of two friends just, becoming enemies, and there you go, there's your story. How simple that is. So, yeah. Bloodline 2000 2.0 is backstage. Roman and the boys are preparing Jacob for the main event. Roman wants Jimmy to watch out for anyone like LA Knight, or maybe even that chump Solo Sikoa, or maybe even that bastard Seth Rollins coming in and ruining the match. And Jimmy says, aight. He and Jay do a little yeet, and Jacob leaves for the main event as Roman watches the TV monitor as we head to that match as Jacob Fatu takes on Seth Rollins. I will have Jacob Fatu win by pinfall. After the match, the Bloodline 2000 2.0 continue to beat him up, but lo and behold, Seth is saved by LA Knight. He got beat up last week, but he returns here. And Solo Sikoa is also there with Royce Keys in tow. They all chase They all chase the rest of the Bloodline 2000 2.0 out of the ring, while Seth wakes up in the ring, but Roman Reigns gets him in a Superman punch and a spear. He raises the championship to Seth as the show goes off the air. I think that as much as I want Seth to get it from Roman, I don't think this is going to happen. I think Roman versus Oba is the bigger match, and considering Roman is a bigger star at this point than Seth Rollins, I don't think they want to waste this opportunity to just give it to Seth for some reason. I think Seth's time is kind of over at this point. I mean, they kind of had it, a year ago, and, it was a decent reign. Nothing really interesting to write home about, but I think Roman would rather just put it on an up-and-coming guy like Obafemi later in the year than to put it back to Seth. And Roman is going to vanquish that demon at SummerSlam. I think Roman is going to get a win out of Seth, and he will use that to sort of ride the momentum to Obafemi later in the year. And Oba is going to take that title from Roman and, carry it from there. So, there you go. That's what I got. Any questions?
Okay, so you said that Penta is retaining at SummerSlam. You said that Rusev is the one that's winning, right?
Yes. It'll be Rusev versus Penta at SummerSlam, and Penta wins, yes. Okay.
So, I agree with you that I think that Rusev is the one who has the wins of this match, because it makes sense for Penta to face a heel. I don't see Penta retaining through SummerSlam though, because
Okay.
I mean I know that Triple H loves to bury people that the fans are super over on, like LA Knight and now supposedly Chad Gable. But why would you think that Penta would retain going through SummerSlam? And do you have an idea of what's next for him after that? It seems like at this point he's run through basically everyone except for maybe Chad. And that would be a face versus face, which I think is pretty rare in this day and age for this booking crew.
So as I said earlier, Penta is a big merch seller. I think he's selling a lot more merch than Rusev. That's for sure. I don't. Well, that's part of it, just because Penta is face, obviously, but I think that people are sort of running their championships based on merch numbers, and definitely for sure Penta is one of the top merch sellers. So we might as well just put the title on him. If they start to stagnate, all right, maybe it's time to put it on some other person. Also, I think Ethan Page and Rusev, their partnership, it can also add a bit more depth there if both of them decide to be on this match and Rusev goes forward with Ethan Page's help, and then there's some, I guess, struggle at the SummerSlam match, and Ethan Page tries to do the same thing to help out his friend Rusev, but it doesn't, and Penta sort of capitalizes on it and retains. So it adds a bit more depth to that partnership between Ethan Page and Rusev. And I just think that, I still think they're still petty about Rusev. I mean, Rusev has been getting some wins for sure, but is their opinion that Rusev, needs a title right now? I don't think so. I think their mentality right now is, well, let's have Penta retain and have him exhaust all of our options, and then once that's over and merch sales kind of stagnate, that's when we'll hand it to someone like Javon or some other guy, right? So I think that's what their thing is with Penta at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem like they are going in the direction of whoever draws the most amount of money in terms of merchandise sales gets the wins. So.
Yeah.
No, I'm still hopeful because it feels like that Penta is sort of stagnated already. He hasn't done a whole lot as of recently, and I think that they do have something planned for Chad Gable. They're still keeping him involved, and I still think that he ends up with the IC title at some point within the next 6 months. So.
Yeah. No, for sure. Chad Gable is going to get that title for sure later this year. Yeah.
All right. I think I'm ready for my card, Bryon.
All right. Let's move on to your card then, starting off with.
So we have Roman coming out to start off the show with the Usos and Jacob Fatu. Roman goes off about what has happened on SmackDown between Sami Zayn and CM Punk. But Roman says he doesn't care about that. He only cares about one thing, and that is Seth Rollins, his opponent at SummerSlam. Roman puts himself over and says that Seth was never able to carry the title for much longer than he has because Seth is washed. He's injured all the time. He doesn't have what it takes anymore. Basically just putting Seth Rollins down. Seth Rollins shows up to confront Roman, and he puts himself over, says that Roman needs his family to win. He can't do it by himself. The Usos and Jacob Fatu then attack Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is saved by LA Knight. LA Knight seems to be beefing with basically anyone who wants to give him beef nowadays. He's beefing with the Vision. He's beefing with the Bloodline. Man is just, he wants all the smoke, and he continues to lose. So, whatever. I think this ends up being our main event, so I'll get to that later. But yeah, I think I don't really know who wins this one in SummerSlam, to be honest with you, Brian. I would probably say Roman. I don't know what his contract looks like though. If he's scheduled to go away after SummerSlam, but anyway,
I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much detail about his contract, so I don't know. But I think Roman is one of those guys that wants to stay in the company for quite a long time. So he wants to be a lifer at this point.
right?
I mean, it's just speculation.
I didn't
could be
know.
wrong,
I didn't know
but
if he was like scheduled to take a break after SummerSlam, but given that he took a break during the summer, I can see him retaining because he didn't do a whole lot of work over the summer. He may be retaining up until Survivor Series or WrestleMania. So, moving on.
But yeah, unless like Disney or some other movie
Yes.
company is calling for him, I don't think he's going to take that break.
Yes.
So
Yep. Just like The Rock, he'll come back because his movie flopped. So, moving on to a backstage segments. Yeah, I don't know how Moana did. I heard it was kind of mid, or got like a mid reception from the audiences.
yeah, it flopped.
Oof.
Didn't really make that much money
Well,
at the box office.
looks like we'll be seeing The Rock soon enough.
Yep.
Probably for WrestleMania.
Let's see whose soul The Rock wants now. First it was Cody. Does he want Roman's soul? Is this the story that we're gonna?
It would
run?
make sense. It's in Saudi. The Saudis love paying an ass ton of money for old wrestlers. The Rock is coming off of a movie flop. Makes a whole lot of sense, actually. I put that down. He's going to be fighting Roman.
Fair enough.
Moving on, backstage segments. The Alpha Academy confront the Vision. So the Alpha Academy confront the Vision after Maxxine left them high and dry last week. Maxxine tells them they should join so that they can learn a thing or two from Austin Theory and Logan Paul. Otis says these guys are no good for them. She doesn't. They don't do things the right way. They're bad guys. And Maxxine says, well, they actually win stuff, unlike you two. And then the Vision walk off. Chad Gable then comes in from behind to start talking with Otis and Tozawa. And I think this is going to run for maybe a Alpha Academy reunion with Chad Gable being the guy. Even though what Maxxine said was correct, I think that Chad can try to earn his way back into the graces of Alpha Academy by doing good things over the next couple of weeks, like the honor system from Red Dead Redemption. So, after this, we have the one of the two scheduled matches for the show. This is Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. Io Sky has been feuding with the Judgment Day because she is going up against Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. So she is going through basically the whole Judgment Day roster. She also intervened last week in Sol Ruca's match against Raquel Rodriguez. So I think what happens here is that Roxanne ends up winning this one thanks to assistance from Liv Morgan and Raquel. They attempt a post-match beatdown again, like they did a couple weeks ago, but this time Sol Ruca comes in to save the day and help fight off the Judgment Day. So I don't know where this feud goes from here because it seems like they've exhausted all their options in terms of who versus who. Maybe we have a tag team match with Io and Sol Ruca. I don't know, but there you go. I think Io probably goes over at SummerSlam, even though Liv Morgan is a massive merch seller. I really don't know what else they can do with this title and her. It just seems like she just has it constantly and never does anything with it. So I think it's because Rhea is actually hurt. She hasn't been on either. So it is an awkward situation for both of the top women's titles right now. Next, we have another backstage segment. Rusev is interviewed along with Ethan Page. Rusev puts himself over for the match tonight. Ethan Page says he is here to help Rusev win, or if Rusev ends up going out first, Ethan Page will win it himself because he is all ego, whatever that means. So yeah, I think this is foretelling that Rusev will end up winning. I think Rusev wins, goes on to actually beat Penta at SummerSlam, or whenever this title match is. They didn't specify when this match would be, so it could even be before SummerSlam, but given that we have 2 weeks until SummerSlam, I would assume 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Okay. Oh yeah, you include this week. It's this week, next week, and then the week after that is the SummerSlam week. So, okay, 3 weeks.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta fill the card, man.
We do have to fill the card.
Fill up these
We
matches.
have 2 days, so most likely this is going to happen at SummerSlam. After this, we have Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. It wasn't specified whether or not this would be a match or just a confrontation. I'm going to go with a match. I think Bayley wins this one via DQ. Lyra uses some sort of weapon, or maybe undoes the turnbuckle pads or something to get herself disqualified. The referee sees it, and Bayley's able to pick up the win. Lyra continues with a post-match beatdown. I think this is going to end up maybe in a street fight, maybe in like a last woman standing match at SummerSlam, something like that. I think this is where that's going. So, all right, the final backstage segments of the show. LA Knight gets interviewed, and LA Knight says that he is in a match tonight with Seth Rollins versus the Usos. LA Knight says that he puts himself over along with Seth Rollins, that he has his own problems with Seth Rollins, but he has more problems right now with the Bloodline. And again, I really don't know what LA Knight's position is on the roster. He just seems like the perpetual beef guy. Like, he has beef with Seth Rollins, beef with the Bloodline, beef with the Vision, beef with who else? Sami Zayn, I think. Cody, a little bit. Like, he just has beef with everybody, and I don't know what his deal is. Like, eventually he's gonna have to squash all these beefs and finish these feuds. He just has, like, perpetually unfinished feuds, this man. Anyway,
I don't know. Maybe they're putting him in a Kurt Angle or Stone Cold position.
yeah, it seems like he's in that Stone Cold position where he's just, like, beefing with everyone who exists. So,
Except he loses.
So. Instead of wins, yes. He's the anti-Stone Cold. So, I think LA Knight wins. LA Knight. I'll get to that later. So I think that he gets interviewed, puts himself over for the match later today. And yeah, that's it. So, after this, we have the announced number one contendership gauntlet for the IC title. I think this includes Rusev, Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Chad Gable, and one other person. Is it Joe Hendry?
Yeah, it's Joe Hendry. Yep.
So I think Rusev wins this one. I think he does so by eliminating Javon Evans. I think Joe Hendry loses thanks to interference from the Vision. Chad Gable ends up losing thanks to interference also from the Vision as well. Maybe the Judgment Day if you want to have them come out and be involved, but I think that this leaves Javon Evans, Rusev, Ethan Page. Javon manages to eliminate Ethan Page, but then Rusev is able to pick up the win by eliminating Javon Evans. So I think Rusev goes on to fight Penta at SummerSlam, and then Rusev wins, leading to possibly Chad Gable winning it off of Rusev after this. So after this, we have a Brock Lesnar promo. He is also announced for this show. He comes out with his wise man Paul Heyman. and he puts himself over for his match. He says that he is going to defeat Obafemi like he has done so many other times to so many other superstars who attempt to step up to beat Brock Lesnar. Brock always manages to find a way to win, and he's going to do that against Obafemi. Obafemi comes out and confronts Brock Lesnar. They get into a bit of a tussle. Brock Lesnar is able to F5 Obafemi. Obafemi is able to get up and put down Brock Lesnar, and that is how this segment ends. I'm not sure what more they can really do, because they've kind of ran through all the options. With them being even in their matches, it really just seems like we need this match to happen already. So I'm not really sure what else they can do in the next 3 weeks to make this more intense than it already is. So we'll see, I guess. Maybe Brock comes out and says that, this is going to be a retirement match, or maybe Oba tells him that he's going to retire Brock Lesnar at the end of this match. So who knows? Maybe Brock says he needs to beat Oba, and if he doesn't, he'll retire. Something like that. I assume that Brock will announce this is his last match if he loses in the next couple of weeks. So
here's a great idea.
Yes.
Why don't we bring a crate, and we just call it like Heck in a Crate or something.
Heck in a Crate.
And we have them like, I don't know, get this crate and then start beating each other up with the crate. I don't know. Yeah, I do agree.
So,
anyway.
Yeah, I just think he comes out and maybe announces this is going to be his last match if he loses. That's probably the only other thing they're going to do for this match. So, we get to the main event, finally, which is Seth Rollins and LA Knight versus the Usos. So Seth Rollins and LA Knight manage to win. Jacob Fatu gets involved, but Solo Sikoa and Royce Keys come out to attack Jacob Fatu and the Usos. Royce Keys has been beefing with Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu recently, so has Solo Sikoa. I'm not sure what their angle is here. Solo seems to be trying to recreate the MFT. Maybe we have the MFT Wolfpack now, which, whatever. I don't know. Royce Keys isn't even like a Tongan, so I don't even know where we're getting him from. But he's from California, so maybe it's close enough. They're both on the Pacific Ocean, so.
Maybe he's the honorary NFT.
Honorary MFT, the honorary Tongan.
Honorary Tongan.
So, yep, I think that they win. Solo and Royce Keys help out. This furthers that feud. I'm not sure where that's going to end up, to be honest with you. Maybe a tag team match at SummerSlam. I don't think that gets resolved before SummerSlam. Maybe it's War Games match. Maybe, God forbid, we run back the fucking Bloodline in War Games again. Who knows? But that is my card, Brian. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Okay, so 4 questions. All right, number 1. So, do you think that the Alpha Academy are going to have a tag team championship match against Division, or do you think that even Alpha Academy is winning the tag team championships later this year, or maybe even next year? I don't know what you think is going on with Alpha Academy, but
I heard some rumors that the WWE is going to be breaking up the division at some point in the near future. Just given all the injuries they've had and the lack of momentum they've gotten in storylines. I've heard they're thinking about doing that. And I think the perfect way to do this would be to have Alpha Academy get involved by beating the Vision thanks to Chad Gable's assistance. That'd be a great way to do it, if you want to do it that way. But knowing this company, it'll probably be the Street Profits or maybe a new tag team that comes in. I think it was Enzo and Cass that are rumored to come in. Having them get hot-shotted and win at night 1. I don't know. So, but I do think they probably drop it before Survivor Series. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I do agree. Division are getting stale at this point. there is not much that they can do with Division. And Maxine Dupree to me is just like Band-Aid. You're putting a Band-Aid over a wound. That's, yeah, sure, it's going to heal, but it's gonna still, you know, it's still gonna be blood coming out. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing with that analogy, but yeah, I agree. Anyway, second question. So, you said that Sol Ruka will get involved in this whole Judgment Day beef with Io. So, are you predicting Sol Ruka versus a Judgment Day member at SummerSlam? Or do you think it's just...
Yeah, I could see either her versus Roxanne Perez or Raquel Rodriguez in an IC title fight at SummerSlam again. I definitely think a title match a title for Raquel is coming. They've really made her into like a big deal as of recently, so she's definitely fighting someone at SummerSlam. Is it a Judgment Day member? Possibly, maybe night 1, and then you have Liv fight night 2. So.
Yeah, that might... Yeah, that definitely makes sense. That's something that they could just, you know, stretch the 2-day sort of concept on, for sure. I just found it interesting that you would have Sol Ruka feud with the Judgment Day at that point. But, okay. Sure. Third question. Who do you think... I guess you're predicting Io Sky is winning at SummerSlam against Liv. Since you're saying that, you know, they don't have much plans for Liv anymore with the title. It's getting a stale. Who do you think will be Io Sky's first opponent after getting the title from Liv?
I could definitely see it being... I'm trying to think of the other females on Raw. It could be Becky Lynch would be a really good one.
Yeah.
You could have... Who else is involved despite like the Judgment Day? Time to go look up the roster.
Natalia. No, I'm kidding.
She's doing stuff in NXT, I think. Right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think she's more involved in NXT at this point.
Where the hell is Jordan Grace, guys? Like, what the hell is
she's
going on
on SmackDown, I believe, right? Because she was feuding with
on TV. Like, what the hell is going on?
She was feuding with Jordan Grace. My bad. I think she was. I think she's injured. Like she was actually having like an injury. So I think you're talking about Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe is on SmackDown. Yeah, there's really no one else. I mean, you have Maxxine Dupree, and then the Judgment Day, and Sol Ruka. Oh, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, obviously, if they finish their feud, maybe Bayley or Lyra, one of those two. So.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I think Io will get some fresh sort of matchups for months to come for the WWE, so yeah, definitely see the benefits there. Last question. So, you mentioned Lyra and Bayley in the previous question, as well as your card. I guess the question is, do you think that this rivalry is just a one-off, or do you think this is sort of continuing after SummerSlam, if you decide to have this sort of match at SummerSlam as well?
I don't think it continues after SummerSlam. Yeah, I don't think it does. No, I think this is really just a way to move one of the two, either Bayley or Lyra, onto something else. So I think they probably go to separate brands at that point. So, or leave the company. Who knows?
Okay. Do you see anything that's sort of in the future for Bayley or Lyra after this feud? I mean, you mentioned the Io Sky opponent kind of deal for both of them, but is there any other sort of pathway for them that you see after this feud?
I mean, if they want to continue it, I could see it going to, Survivor Series or whatever the PLE in between those two is. You could have it finish there, but in reality, I think one of them moves on to the other brand, and then whoever's left probably challenges for the main title, and whoever has it at that point, which will be Io Sky, meaning it'll probably be Lyra if she is still a heel at that point. So.
Okay. Fair enough. Alright, with that, that's all that we got for the next episode of Monday Night Raw, or what we think will happen on that episode. And as I said earlier, we will score our predictions and bookings when the actual next episode of Monday Night Raw comes out, and we'll watch that. And we'll come back here on the next episode of the show. We'll tell you what we got, and then we'll do this whole thing all over again. So until then, thank you for getting a slice of probably next week on SmackDown from Grapperinos. And remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, everybody.